And under this body chassis domain, we have a body control module, chassis control module, climate control module. So we should go with the body control module. And next we have infotainment domain and ADAS and safety security. So now the current project we need to discuss on the bodies and chassis domain. So that is a body control model. Okay, so that is what like here the body control module. It have the this is a one master controller. Usually it have so for low end cars it have the one single controller where additionally it will the control of the doors and lightning and the seat control and some of the LED lamps, the indicators we usually. So it will be controlled just to aware about the body control model, what are the inputs and outputs it will be connected. And here, so here we usually the internal block diagram of the same. So how the inputs, we are able to make it as the digital inputs and analog inputs. So analog inputs are like the temperature reading or the current or the light, anything that will be a part of the analog inputs, and digital inputs like the switches and um, so some of the indicators that will be making as digital inputs. So whatever we need to give the digital inputs or analog inputs, so that will be accessing to the microcontroller with help of some of the protocols. So that is the interface here. And so once it is taking, so then the output will be giving as a part of the motor wiper or the mirror or the doors, those things. Okay, so to drive these motors, we require the drivers. Okay, so how like we are using the drivers for our systems, right? So similarly here also we are using the drivers to drive the motors. Just it is a brief info on the body control module. Like usually the hardwares of the body control modules. So body control modules, it have all the applications are interfaced. Some of the major cars, it is a separate. Okay, so the doors control module, it have a separate, that is a DCM. So if it is a part of the body control module and it will be a part of a DCM, so the ECUs, and this is also the power window, and where uh, it able to access with the remote lock key. Okay, so these are some ECUs which we are using in the cars. Okay, I mean, so these are a part of a microcontrollers. Okay, so because internally it have a 2 3 controllers in it, so it is enclosed with the metal, and we are placed in the cars. Okay, so here the DCM or the BCM, so which receives the input from the window switches are located on the door panel and sends the command to the Windows motor, and it will regulate or it will operate the window. So whatever you need to give the input of the uh, window to make up or down. So with the help of the switches will do, and the back that information will go to the controller, and based upon your input the feedback it will be giving to the sensor, like we have the cluster display, so where you can see the feedback. So once the because the driver he usually sit on the front, and he need to observe whether he cannot see the back and he cannot close the doors or windows, right? So to operate that, the output is going to the window and it is made up or down. So the feedback he able to see on the cluster. So that is another device where the feedback is going to the one device to the another devices. Okay, so we are aware about the body control module. So it have various components in it, the mirror, power window, exterior and interior lighting. So a wiper wash system. So these are some applications of the body control module. And most of the things like we need to aware about the switches what we are using, and the sensors and actuators are nothing but the motors, and some part of relays or switches we usually solenoids will be part of the actuators. So that is the output of the microcontroller. And Next will be the door control model. Door control model, it is some of the vehicles it have the separate control models in it. Okay, so if you're in your sometimes if you get a requirement of DCM or BCM, so the both are it's related to the same. But some vehicles they use separate control for the DCM to operate. Some they will integrate in the body control model and they will use it. Okay, so that DCM is a separate controller as of now in the project. For this, the master they will. This is a one DCM control model. This is a ECU, and we'll use for the power window and interior exterior light controlling, and even for the mirror control. Like some vehicle, they use the other device because to ensure that the mirrors and windows things to operate very faster and accuracy and somewhat safety and reliability features they're upgrading because of the adding issues is specifically to improve the quality. Okay, so that is a major point you should be remember. And here, the whatever they are integrating these ECUs to the body monitor means usually this DCM is a one controller, and again it will communicate with the body control module ECU. And from here again it will be connecting to the infotainment. Okay, so the cluster. So usually these all controllers ECUs are interlinked with each other because the communication it will be happen with respect to the CAN or link or Ethernet protocols in it. Okay, so is it clear, right? Getting right? So here I have given the power window model and what is a door control model. So the power control model, what we do exactly. So we are able to do the operation of the power window in the vehicle. So what we do, we are opening the door window and we are closing the window and we are controlling the position of the windows. Okay, and so next is the whatever the window control, so it will be the separate unit or sometimes it will be integrated. Okay, and door control model, so whenever you are able to operate the windows also parallelly the door control models will be there. So it is responsible for opening of the door vehicle doors, including the power window operation and central locking system and mirror adjustment. So and mostly the interior or exterior lighting. Sometimes some of the cars it have those features. So the power window is a one and the door control. So and in some vehicles the power windows it have integrated with the DCM and some it won't have. Okay, so this already we discussed these points. So just to differentiate whether the power window and the door control modules are same or not. So just I'm making a separate of the power window. It's make you the opening and closing of the window, and it is the door specific. This is a doors, and this is like a window. Okay. So this because each windows also very important because it will do only the closing and opening. But whenever opening and closing, there should be specific points. The kids or any others who are able, if any interface means any objects is there, so that time it's difficult to get out, right? So Windows it will make to block the interface. Okay, so that is about the power window and door control module have it different points. So now we need to focus on the vehicle window control. So vehicle window specifically in the cars, whatever the window we are able to make it right. So we need to understand how the window is operating and how the doors will be controlled. Okay, so vehicle window typically generally it falls under the body control model. So and moreover, sometimes it is a part of a door control model. Why we need to choose the power window? So because power windows are common options nowadays, whatever the latest cars we are using, so it has specific need. And So whatever the mid-range cars or high-end cars, so they will always go with the latest features and the luxuries. And this the like usually the car have all the windows, right? So some cars it have a 7 windows, or some it have 4 windows. Some of the mini cars it have a 2 windows. It depends upon the cars and the usage and the requirement. So whenever the windows are there, the driver should lock all the windows at a time, so that with one touch it should be closed all the windows at a time. It should be followed. If it is not happening, then it is difficult for the driver to go each window and to lock it. So this will be always some of the futures, because it should not give any interrupt to the drivers or the passengers who are driving it. And next is like what are the Windows positions and operations? What are the switches we have? So we have the driver's window power and the front passenger's door switch and the rear left and right switches will have, and Windows opening and closing switches are there, and automatically making the windows to up and down. So and next we have the power window lock switches. So these are the input switches that driver is giving on the vehicle. And whenever the driver is giving the inputs, so usually it is interconnected with the microcontroller, and it have the DC motor, it have the motors in it. Because whenever the controller is there, we need the power supply also. So for that, they will have the power supply and the power devices, and what the motors will do and how the windows make it. So whenever the motor is rotating forward, so that time the windows will rise up, and whenever the motor is rotating in the anti-clockwise, so it is making down. So that will be operated internally in the door. So where it will give the fast response, and because whenever we are giving the input to the doors, so it should be operated very quickly and fastly. And what are the system benefits? So it will be the simple window motors will be there, and moreover some of the algorithms it will be using to make smooth functioning, and the LIN and CAN protocols used for this controller to communicate with the motors and from the ECU. The protocols are just, it is only for transferring of the data. So between the door control module and the power window controller or the body control module. So it's specifically the ECU's communication, and mostly the controller have the um, so most it should follow with the high frequency. Some they use the drivers. So whatever the drivers we are using, it will be the off bridge drivers. Okay, and high current switching MOSFET. So these are the part of the drivers. Usually it will be there to drive the motors in it. Okay, so these are some part of system benefits. And how this window will be attached. So what is the backend information? So usually the window glass here. So to operate the window glass, the bottom, so we have the some mechanism here. So here the motor is there. So the motor makes the clockwise rotation and anti-clockwise rotation. So there is a some gauge here, and that gauge makes to move up or down uh, whenever the motor is starts rotating. And next we have a switch. So the switch makes to control the motor, and so whenever you press the switch, so the windows should come up or down. Okay, and parallelly, like to communicate this switch, we needed some controllers. So there are some controllers back here we usually have. From the controllers, usually it is connected to the relay. So the relay is for the power supply, because for the motor we need the power supply and command. Command is the input what we are giving. So that information we are giving it, and it will pass to the motor, and from the motor we are making the window to up and down. So that's how the internally the circuit of the window usually it have. Uh, you should aware how the windows are operated uh, from in the door. Okay, so getting clear, right? Okay, so I'm coming to the block diagram of the power window. So usually we have the controller, the microcontroller, and here it will be having, we are giving the inputs of the main switch button to rise and to fall, or the operations what we are able to give the inputs. And next we have some emergency window, like all the doors windows should be locked at one time. We have specifically the interface that we need to give. And next is the output. So whatever the windows we are able to make it up or down, the exact output should perform, right? So that we need to drive based upon the motors. So the motors will be there. From the motors it the windows will be driving it. Okay, so this is a application to understand about the ECU block diagram, the internally control, what are the inbuilt features. So in interviews, if they ask you, can you explain about the how the Windows system block diagram it has? So you need to give the information clearly, saying that whatever the window we need to use, the power window, the backend it have a motor. So that motor makes the window to make the clockwise whenever the motor rotates a clockwise or anti-clockwise. So that's why it will may fall or rise the window. So like the how this is the output of the controller which we are giving from the motor, and the input is the switch that we are giving it. Okay, so this is the high level points you should be giving in interview. And in detail, we have the MOSFETs and some of the operations it usually be happening. And what are the features of the microcontroller? As I told you, it's a Renesas, the CPU. And what is the voltage it be giving? So 2.7 to 5.5 is a voltage. It is a minimum voltage. It will be operated within the range. But in organizations, we when we are doing the working on this ECUs, we'll always use the 12 volts power supply, and that is the optimum voltage we should, that is a normal voltage we are giving it. And we have a some part of memory. What is the memory it have, what is a flashback flash memory, and the PMW means whatever the three phase I told, the motors which we are using. So what is the function, what is the analog to digital converter, whether it is a 8-bit or 10-bit. So like who are developers, they should aware on this. And what is the on-chip oscillator frequency what we are using. So just it is a just in detail information I can say. And some of the other details. So usually the controllers, it have the some safety features in it, because to make sure the whatever the application software in the ECU, so that should be protected when during that high temperature or low temperature, whenever the scenarios may fall. So to this is some internal in detail information. It's not much required, but you should aware like what it is there exactly in the ECU. How do this power window works? So whenever this power window, it will be operated with respect to the electric motor mechanism. So generally it is controlled by the switch on the door panel. So like he will, first we are activating the switch here. So whenever the switch or the driver presses the switch, that information it will go into the circuit. Okay, so then the motor will be activated. So the motor, it will be presented inside the door, and it will move the window glass up and down. So that is the motor activation. It will do it. And next, so the movement of the vehicle, whenever the vehicle is moving right during the stand or running, you need to operate it. Okay, so that time also the window, how the movement is happening when the vehicle is running or not. So you need to do as a part of a testing. Similarly, whatever the information you are giving to the switch, so that is passing to the controller and makes the motor to make the window to up and down. And the window movement should be operated in different conditions in the driving or high speed, how it how it will be acted, and during the emergency how the window will be locked fully. So it's a kind of a window movement. Okay, so it will be receive the electrical signals. So whatever the signals we are passing means from the switch that we are giving it, and so the motor will be activated, and driver will see the mechanism. So how the gear and the cable system is working, how the glass windows are moving up and down. So that will be tracked as a part of a window movement. And a regulator mechanism. So regulator mechanism is specifically, it talks about whether the window are making the rotation whenever the motor rotates, right? So that motor rotates the clockwise and anti-clockwise. Suppose if you see, we'll take one example. The motor, it have a like one, two, three, four pin sets. Okay, so the motor, whenever it will start the fully, this is a like a window. It will operate at up to two, means it will be the off, and it will be a full. Okay, so means off rotation, the window will go top here, so fully, and whenever it is in a anti-clockwise, it will fall from down. So that is the operation it should perform. So whenever the rotation it is happening, right, the motor rotation, so it should always follow with the linear motion. Means it should not come after three, it should not cross. Okay, if it is happening, the window, whatever the window, no, it will be struck in that some position, and you need to go to the garage, and you need to make the motor and the gauge align properly. Again, you need to operate it. It's difficult to make it. So because high-end vehicles, whenever they do this kind of mechanism, they will follow that whatever the we are using the motor, it should be aligned properly, and it should move the window properly in all phases. Okay, so here the motor is connected to the regulator mechanism. So that will translate the rotation motion of the motion into the linear motion to move the glass. So here what happens is, whenever the window is there here, just imagine this is a window, and here we have a operation of the rod, which we have the moment, and next we have another rod. So it have the gauge teeth point will be there. So and here we have the motor. So the motor also have the teeth in it. So when the teeth, whenever the motor starts rotate, so this it will be aligned, and it will start moving. So means it is a part of a linear movement, it will happening. So then the window will be raised. So, and that is the regular mechanism. It will be happening in the window, and it have a limited switches. So like a fully open or fully closed. So when the motor should stop automatically. So it is a part of a limit switches. Okay. So to avoid the damages on the window. And safety features. So safety features is specifically the sensors. So every window have the sensors in it. When you are closing or opening, it should not damage the things. So it should identify if any obstruction is there, and it should stop immediately. So that is some of the safety features. Many like power window system, so it is go with the anti-pitch protection. So if any objects or any instruct, so sensor will detect that, and it will give the window to be a protected without damage. And next will be a part of the control model. So whatever the information we are passing from the window, so that will be a master. There will be the master will be there. So here body control model will play the major role. So to lock the windows and make up and down that functionality also. It will be controlled from the body control model, because it will be integrated with the switches. And power source, for this controller we need a power source, so that we are supplying it whenever the vehicle is running or on stop. So usually the power supply will be there whenever the vehicle is power it is on. So that time the entire system, the power will be supplied, so we are able to operate the window. And what are the inputs for the vehicle power window? So typically the window switches we are aware, that is the primary inputs. we are giving to the window. And vehicle lock switch. So because what in the doors, no, we have the switches. With the help of the switch, we can rise and make the passenger side we have the doors, and we can do it. And similarly, driver also have the locking mechanism, so all the windows he can lock at a one time. So that is a locking switch, so windows locking switch. So generally the driver will used to lock or unlock the other window switches when the during the high journey, means high speed driving things. And next will be the part of a keyless entry system. So without key, remotely we need to operate. So some of the the car owners, when they are making the vehicle on parking side, sometimes won't see that the vehicle is windows are opened. So at that time they are little bit remote away, so like 10 meters away or 50 meters away. So then they need to close the window. So with the help of remote lock, they can make the windows to be up. So that is like a keyless entry system. And the vehicle control model, so like we have the other inputs. So the from the body control model, means like ignition or vehicle speed or security features. So during that, how we are able to operate. So that we need to do as a part of a input. Okay. So these are three important inputs we need to do as a part of a testing. And these are the features they will always try to implement it. And what are the outputs? So output is the window motor. So window motors makes the rotation. The based upon the rotation, the windows will go up and down. So that is a mechanical movement. It is happening, and we have a window regulator. So it will guide like what is the movement of the windows track, and we need to make the smooth operation, because if anything happens, the windows will be struck. It will be disturbed for the passengers and drivers. So that will be the windows regulators will be there. And windows position sensors. So and sense it is to detect the any objects are there in between the window, and it will give the feedback to the cluster. So what is the position, what is the abstraction, if any failures are there, so that will be giving reading from the sensor. And moreover, the indicator lightning. So indicator lightning usually will get it on a display, the cluster. So there the persons can see how the light windows is opened or not fully, is any fault or any failure is there, so that information you can see it on the cluster side. So this is the indicator lighting. So these are the outputs of the power window. So what are the features of power window? So it is a automatic up, automatic down, and moreover the power consumption. Okay, so automatic up means like whenever you close, right? So you open the door and you make the changes in the window. Means it is in the middle of the um, window, like the position you not fully closed, it is a off close. So that time what should be happen, whether it will go automatically up or down. So it should be operated in specific way. Okay, so here automatic up is operated similar to the automatic down, but presents the complication. So risk of obstruction causing a windows to continue closing and potentially leading to accidents. So these are some points about automatic up and automatic down, why these features are emerging in the power window. And using of power on. So whenever you need to operate the window, so you should have some power. So how the battery will be taking the power whenever there is no power in your vehicle. So how you can do the window to close or open, so whether it will work or not. So those are some features, always they will work on the features. And next is the power control future list. So we and parallelly we have the mirror controller also, where it will adjust the mirror, the position of the mirror also electrically. So usually it have the driver have the switch. So from the driver he able to make the power window controller, so windows, and moreover adjusting of the window. So what generally it will happen? So even the mirror, it have the motor backend. Okay. So the motor. So imagine like this is a motor. So it is giving to the moment to the mirror here. And this motor, we are giving the command from the controller. So our ECU, and we are operating with respect to the input of the switch. So the switch is here. So whenever you give the command, the motor will start rotate and the mirror will be adjusted automatically. So that is a part of the mirror control, where it easy for the driver to see what is the sides the other vehicles are coming. And all these mirror control are the windows. So mostly the switches are interfaced with, it will be in a driver panel. So where the driver sits, so that position he able to operate. And anti-pitch protection, it's any objects are detected, so how the sensors will read the information and without injury damage, how it will make it. And soft start and stop, so how the windows whenever you are rising, it should move with a smooth and soft. Okay, so means without noisy, you need to drive it, and it should not give any junk sound. Okay, so that creates a problem for the passenger because it is a costlier cost, and moreover the smooth operation it's required. So that is about the motor mechanism, how it will make soft start and soft start, that is with respect to the motor that we are using it. And one touch opening and closing. So similarly, like instead of some cars we are coming with the manual thing, right? So now they are going with the touch screens. Okay, usually we have a display when you touch it, so the windows will be closing and opening, it will be happening. And parallelly, the passenger sides also we have a touch screen, so that they can operate without help of these switches. So that are the future list, means whenever they need to start the futures of working on the high end cars, they will always go with these futures. And thermal motor protection, this is a part of a heat, I can say, like whenever heat is coming more when you are operating the windows for continuously making the movement and up and down. And whenever the continuous voltage is supplying, how the ECU is stabilizing, means what are the microcontroller, how it able to withstand for the temperature, whether we are able to operate for high temperature or low temperature. So that will be the thermal protection, because whenever the heat is coming up all the time, so the life its span also will be decreased. Okay, so we need to ensure that we are giving a life to the controller and the motors in it. And moreover the communication, so we are used to operate with the lean protocols and the can protocols. And whenever the problems is coming, so the cluster you were able to see. Similarly, when you go to the garage with the vehicle, you need to find with the help of the diagnostics. So like means we need to see the communication messages and the diagnostics for all the futures, and we need to identify the problem and we need to remove it. So these are the future list what and all we usually work for the cars. Okay, so how do this power window works? So just I given this information. So it power window works via the electric motor, so that is attached to the warm gate. So whatever the things I told, it is a warm gate. So you need to explain in an interview like how does power window works, you need to give this information. So power window works via the electric motor, so that is attached to the warm core, which is attached to the several other gears also. Altogether, that parts create a torque, and the torque lifts the window. So this is how the power window works. How can we convert the manual window to power window? So we are talking about power window, right? So we are able to give the switch, and we are making the motor to make the moment. So with the help of the tips, means the warm gears, So it will moving, right? So how I need to convert this power window? Manually, we can turn it into the power window because it does require a bit of work. Okay, so what is a bit of work we need? So from wiring, we need to, there are some other components. So like the motors and the gates. So like smooth operation should be performed. So whenever we are giving from the motor to the gear section, so that mechanism make like whatever the teeth we are using, right? So additionally, we need to use the other sections where it can drive smoothly. So it is a part of the power window is specifically just how we are making a very fast the window to operate. So that is only the major difference. So from wiring to the additional indoor mechanism, there are many components that have to be added to take the window from crank power to motor power. Okay. So next, what are the key functionalities of vehicle power windows? So vehicle power windows are always used to conveniently rise and lower the window with the help of push buttons. So what is the functionalities it have? It have the functionalities of the smooth operation. So next, anti-pitch protection to prevent injuries and synchronizing of the multiple windows means whenever the driver passes, all the windows should be closed at a time. And it is integration with the vehicle control system because this is another controller. Okay, whenever vehicle you are driving, right? So with the high speed, all the windows should be locked. Okay, so this is about some other part. Means this like you need to perform in the hill testing. Okay, so for integration with the vehicle control system, it is working. Okay, what are the functionalities? Smooth operation, anti-pitch protection, and synchronization of the multiple windows are the three major functionalities you should be remembered. Can you describe the components involved in the typical power window system? So yes, like it have the switches and it have the door panels because door panel with the help of the door panels only we are able to operate the window, right? So that is a door panel and window motors are regulators and wires and relays and the control models for managing of the window operation. Okay, so it means here the controller. What are the some tests performed during the bench level testing of the power window? So we usually do the testing of the individual window operation, synchronizing of the window operation, testing of the anti-pitch protection, verifying the overload protection, testing the window lock functionality, and simulating the manual override, and verifying the communication between the control module and the switches. So these are the common tests that we perform during the bench level testing. How you would like to verify the synchronization of multiple windows is in a power window? So to verify the synchronization, um, so what we are doing in the canoe, we have a switch. So whenever we press the switch, so all the windows, it will give the same values. So the from that, we can verify that those windows are operating at the same time. So that is like we are simulating in the canoe. So is it clear? So with the help of that, we are able to say that, with the help of the feedback signal from the each window, we can come to that it is a fully closed or filled loop operation at the same time. Okay, is it clear, right? Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I like to say this is a small project. Okay, so you should aware on this. And next is what are the steps you should take to test the anti-pitch protection test feature? So anti-pitch protection, what it is? So for anti-pitch, it is a the object obstruction. So any interrupt that you are doing. So for doing the interrupt, we cannot do manual, no. So in the canoe, we are doing it. So I would simulate a obstruction in the window pitch while it closing and verify that window stops immediately. So any obstruction and reverse the direction upon encountering upon. So suppose if the window is rising, right? So that time, so ensure that this is my window, okay, where I need to close fully. But I identified that there is a obstruction, means there is a some point. This is fully need to close, but there is obstruction here. Whenever the window is rising, so it stopped immediately and it will fall down also. It won't make to obstruct continuously because glass will be damaged. So that is an anti-pitch protection features. Okay, so how that is working, we are doing it. And I would also ensure that system generates an appropriate error code and indicator to indicate that activation of the anti-pitch protection. And most, well, how do you ensure that Power Window system operates smoothly without exceeding noise or the resistance? How you need to know? So I would test the window movement under a different condition, such as varying the load, temperature. Under a different conditions, I used to do this operation. And I would also inspect that Windows tracking and seals and motor assembles of any signs bearing damages. So that because if the motor damages also, there are chances that it won't work properly. Right? So it says specifically if the window is damaged or any, it's not aligned properly. So that time how it will do. So that and all we are doing at a simulation level in the canoe, and we'll do it. Can you explain the importance of overload protection in power window system? So overload protection prevents the damages to the power motor, and it regulated by halting the window movement when excess forces is applied. So when there is a obstruction is there. So to protect both vehicle occupant and the windows. So it is a very important that the Windows it's operating very smoothly and efficiently. Okay, how you do simulate a manual override in a Power Window during the bench level testing? So I would use a simulated control signals to activate the manual override mechanism. So like in a canoe, we operate the input and we'll verify the outputs. So this is how about some of the questions it will be logged.